everyone, I hope y'all are having a great day, and today I'll be reviewing Me and Earl and the Dying Girl by Jessie Andrews. This review will be entirely spoiler-free, so if you haven't read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl yet, feel free to stay for the entire video. I've heard good things about this book for years, ever since it came out, but I've never been that inclined to buy it for some reason, but that changed with the movie. I watched the movie trailer, I was in love, and I told myself that I had to see this movie. So when I saw this copy at Sam's Club, I snatched it up and I told myself, I should read this before I watch the film. So I bought it, and I also looked up movie times at my local movie theater. I didn't really have that high of hopes because normally when a movie is limited release, my city's not important enough or big enough to get that movie. But I was on Fandango and I saw it. I saw a movie time for this film. I was looking this stuff up on a Sunday and the showing was for Tuesday at 7 p.m. And I guess that was the last showing because there were no available dates after that. And Tuesday at 7 p.m. did cut into my volunteering hours at a local hospital, but I was so willing to leave the hospital early just so that I could see this movie. So on Monday night, I looked back at the times just to make sure that I had the time right, and it was gone. It wasn't moved, it was just gone. It was like it was deleted. It was not there. So there were no available times for this movie. Ever. At least not at a theater that's near me. So I couldn't see it. I couldn't see this movie that I was so excited for, and I was just so angry. Oh my goodness, I cannot believe this. This had never happened before. I didn't know movie theaters could just take away showings like that. So I called the movie theater and the conversation went a little bit like this. Hi, this is Name of Movie Theater. I'm blank. How may I help you? Hi, do you guys have any showings of Me and Earl and the Dying Girl? No, we do not. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. So end of story. I couldn't see this movie because the theater near me didn't have it, and the nearest theater that had a showing of it was probably like 2.5 hours away, and I wasn't up for that. So I didn't get to see the film, which is really upsetting because it looked so good. But I did read the book. I know a lot of people love this book. It's one of Raylene's favorite books, Raylene from Padfoot and Prongs 07, and I really wanted to love it. But I didn't. It just really wasn't my taste, I guess. It's about a boy named Greg who likes to make movies with his friend named Earl, and there's this girl in his grade named Rachel who is recently diagnosed with leukemia, so his mother forces him to hang out with Rachel before she passes away. So it's a cancer book technically, but not really. What Jessie Andrews does is he subverts this cancer book trope, and instead of having this cancer book brimming with philosophical ideas and teenagers who somehow have the maturity levels of 30-year-olds and life lessons and once-in-a-lifetime love stories, Jessie Andrews basically does the opposite, and he infuses his novel with silliness and humor. And I love the idea of that. I love the concept of it. But I guess in practice, for the most part, it just didn't really work for me. Basically because of one thing, and that one thing is that I didn't like the humor in this book. The humor isn't funny to me personally. That's not to say it isn't funny in general because lots of people love it, but for me specifically, it just wasn't very funny. I guess it's just not my type of humor. It's very crass and gross and sometimes offensive. There's this one particular line about lesbianism that is supposed to just be like a lighthearted joke, but I didn't really find it funny. It's just supposed to be a harmless joke, and I understand that. And had it been anybody other than me who had been reading this book, it probably wouldn't have raised any kind of flag, but for me it did because I don't really like that kind of humor. Like, I think I read it out loud to one of my friends and he was like, oh, that's funny, that's just a funny joke. And I was like, not for me. There's also an entire conversation devoted to, yikes, how do I say this respectably? Performing oral sex on a girl. And it's supposed to be funny, but it just absolutely did nothing for me. I feel like at least 50% of Greg's jokes are about barf, like alien barf, and how he talks about this book being a barf fest, which in all honesty isn't like completely inaccurate. Just kidding. But yeah, things like that, like jokes about vomit, aren't really funny to me. I feel like Jessie Andrews tried to make up for the fact that this humor might not be everyone's taste by having Greg repeat over and over again, like on every other page, that what he's saying was dumb or that he was just a dumb person. Greg's gratuitous self-deprecation seemed like an excuse for his unfunny line, but acknowledging something doesn't fix the fact that it is the way it is. And wow, that was really, really mean. That was really harsh. I know, I'm sorry. So anyway, because this book was so heavily humor-based, like the prose is just a constant stream of joke after joke, the fact that a lot of humor in this book didn't make me smile or laugh was a very big obstacle in my attempt to appreciate this book. That's not to say all the jokes suck. I think like 30% of this book was really, really funny, and I'd find myself smiling or laughing out loud, and I really, really wish that that 30% had been the entire 100%, but unfortunately it wasn't. I feel bad for saying these things because I know a lot of people love this book, so I'm really sorry if I'm offending you. That's definitely not my intention at all. But yeah. Moving on. Greg, as a character, in case you couldn't tell, wasn't really one of my favorites. I don't think he's a very good person in general. He's just very apathetic to things that are happening right in front of him. And personally, because I'm someone who really, really easily, almost too easily, actually, it's probably a flaw, invests emotions in things, I really couldn't relate to that aspect of Greg's character. However, I liked practically everyone else. I really, really loved Earl and Rachel. Earl especially. I really believe that Earl is the best character in this entire novel. He's brilliant. He's just so smart in an unconventional way. He very much understands human beings and life's situations, and I love that. By the way, speaking of characters, I do have the movie tie-in edition, so I have the actors who play the characters on this cover. So this is Greg, and this is Earl, and this is Rachel. And just so you know, the characters look absolutely nothing like these actors. Like nothing at all. Like I was really surprised. Jesse Andrews wrote this book very creatively. You don't find out until the very end why Greg is writing this book in the first place, and I thought the reason for it was very interesting. It was really surprising. Some of the conversations between the characters are written in script format because, like I said before, Greg likes to make movies, and I thought that was really cool. Sometimes when Greg is writing a conversation that he participated in, his lines are just like jumbled up letters, like someone just like smashed their head into a keyboard or something, which I thought was really funny. Also, some parts of the book were written in bullet points. So there were all these diverse formats in how the story was told. The stylistic structure of the book was definitely very unique, and I thought it suited the story very well. Me and Earl and the Dying Girl is a very, very easy read. The pages definitely fly by, and it isn't very long, so I think you can finish this pretty quickly and easily. I mean, I was disappointed because I'd heard so many good things and it didn't really gel well with me, but you might love it. So if you're interested in this book, I still do encourage to read it and like give it a shot. I really wish I had been more into it. Nonetheless, I definitely appreciate the way Jesse Andrews wrote this book and how he attempted to address this topic that we see so frequently in novels, a teenager getting diagnosed with cancer, and just flipping that trope on its head and providing us with this refreshing, distinctive story. By the way, there's no romance between the characters, which is unusual for young adult, but when you're reading this book, it really, really works. Like having a romance would have just completely destroyed the tone that Jesse Andrews has set up in this book. And also, there's just no room for it. It would have just thrown off the balance of the story. So if you've read Me and Earl and the Dying Girl, please let me know your thoughts. Do you agree? Do you disagree? I would love to know. Also, please let me know if you've seen the movie, because I still really, really do want to watch it. If you've read the book and watched the movie, please let me know how they compare. So thanks so much for watching. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day and happy reading. Goodbye!